Good afternoon. I'm Bob Warren, Chairman of the Pittsylvania County Board of Supervisors. Welcome to the COVID-19 update in relationship to Pittsylvania County. We appreciate you taking the time to watch today as we try to give you updated information. We have five distinguished individuals that will be bringing you reports today. And the first will be Mr. David Smitherman, Pittsylvania County Administrator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon to everyone at home. Pittsylvania County government continues to operate on its normal 8 to 5 schedule. We are closed to the public for walk-in traffic, but you can still get appointments for your daily business needs by calling ahead. We are answering all of our phones from 8 to 5. We continue to support our construction community. We're issuing permits. We are performing inspections and seeing no change in our operations there. This will continue to at least April 30th. We will reassess after that time, but for the time being, for the month of April, our business offices will be closed to walk-in traffic. We are making an adjustment to our garbage collection schedule. The virus and great weather have created an inordinate burden on our collection system. We are collecting more trash in 7 days than we can remove in 7 days. So to give the system a break for maintenance and to give our employees a break from a potential 7-day work week, we will be closing effective April 12th all of our collection centers on Sundays. So beginning Easter Sunday, we will be closed for garbage collection on Sundays. The county and the Board of Supervisors are very concerned about our local economy. We're concerned about small businesses and those that are affected, their revenues affected during this time. We've made available a good number of resources through our Economic Development Department on our webpage, PittsylvaniaCountyVA.gov. If you would please go there, you'll see a list of resources such as Small Business Administration, where you can apply for and seek opportunities to support your business during this difficult time. We've been in contact with our cooperative extension agents and understand there may be potentially some provisions of that recently adopted legislation for our agriculture community, and we encourage the ag community to continue to coordinate with the cooperative extension and other agricultural resources. Final thing I'd like to say is that this evening the Board of Supervisors is scheduled to adopt the budget for FY21 beginning July 1. We know that the plans that we made just 3 and 4 weeks ago are now out of play. We anticipate significant revenue reduction in county government going forward and are going to have to make an adjustments to things we do and the services that you're accustomed to getting potentially in the coming year. So we're going to be monitoring the economy very closely. We know that our sales tax and meals receipts are going to go down, and we're going to have to make adjustments in our spending effective July 1 to make sure that we're living into this new economy and making sure that we are doing the best we can for our citizens, providing a low-cost and highly effective government. I'm going to turn the podium over to Sheriff Mike Taylor, who will give you some public safety updates. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smitherman, and good afternoon. And I've been asked to speak to 3 things. One, how the governor's orders have impacted the question about religious worship. And at the end of my other 2 comments, I'm going to yield some of my time to Mr. Haskins, our Commonwealth attorney, who will address that. The second question was, how are we keeping our deputies and our corrections staff safe? Early on in March, the Sheriff's Office implemented 3 phases of action, and the first being nothing more than prevention. Right now, we're in stage 2, which we have instructed our officers to use the social distancing, even when they're answering calls, to be careful if they have to make a traffic stop or have any kind of encounter with the public. We've given them all the protective gear that we have in our inventory, and we are following the mandates of the National Sheriffs, the Virginia Sheriff's Association, the CDC, and our health department. And on a daily basis, we are on conference calls and video conferences with those individuals with the best practices. The third thing is about how are we protecting the correction staff and the inmates that we have in our local facility. Early on, we implemented a screening process. Anyone that enters the jail, into the confines of the jail, has to go through a screening process, which includes temperatures, the questions of travel, and if they are exhibiting any kind of symptoms, they're not allowed into the facility. The inmate themselves would be, if they are being symptomatic, we have isolation cells. We have a medical staff on duty 24 hours a day, and they're monitoring that. And so far, we have been very successful happily to say that we've not had any inmate or any staff in our jail facility that has exhibited any of those issues. We're continuing to monitor the CDC website, and hopefully we won't have to go into phase 3, which we will implement further actions for the deputies and for the staff. At this time, I'm going to ask Mr. Haskins, our Commonwealth attorney, to come up and speak specifically about the religious worship and the governor's orders.
Good afternoon. I'm Bryan Haskins, your Commonwealth attorney. I've gotten a number of calls about the governor's order and how this impacts church services from pastors and individuals who are concerned. And I have been through the order and have been given the following advice to pastors. Drive-in worship service is not going to be considered criminal, gathering of 10 or more people, so long as you have less than 10 people per vehicle and you try to keep 6 feet or better between the vehicles, as in every other parking space, for example. And those who are presenting the service either from a stage with a PA or over a FM transmitter within the parking lot are 10 or less people and are practicing the proper social distancing. Now, that does not, it means you can have 100 people come to the worship service, so long as no less than 10 people are gathered together and they're all in one family unit. So if you stay in your cars, you're going to be fine. If you have to go to the restroom, then the 10 or more rules are going to have to apply. Please understand that I'm not a doctor and that I'm not giving you medical advice. I'm only telling you what would be, in my opinion, a crime or not a crime under the governor's order, because the governor's order does carry with it a Class 1 misdemeanor penalty for many of its provisions, which is up to a year in jail and a $2,500 fine. I would encourage anyone out there who has questions, and particularly the pastors who are contemplating continuing or setting up a drive-in worship service, to call my office, because we are staffing the office right now, our normal hours. We're out running a skeleton staff. Also, to address that, some of you are out there are wondering whether your court case that's set for next month or this month is going to be ongoing. Right now, the Virginia Supreme Court has declared a state of judicial emergency through the date of April the 26th. If you have a criminal case where you're a witness, a victim, or are involved as a defense witness or a defendant, your case is not going to be heard on a trial between now and the 26th. Those cases are all being continued. The courts are still open. If you need access to the courts or the clerk's office, they are still open and functioning on their normal schedule, and we are actually still in court and from my office, because we are going to court for emergency hearings like bail hearings or juvenile detention hearings, things that have to happen because of a time schedule. But beyond that, if you have questions, my office number is 434-432-7900, 432-7900. If you have questions, call our office and we will try to answer every question you have, because we are manning the office, albeit on a skeleton staff and rotating. We are there. And I'm not sure who's next. All right, Dr. Jones is next from the school system. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Mark Jones, Division Superintendent of Pittsylvania County Schools. As I begin this evening, I'd like to thank Mr. Warren and the Board of Supervisors for this opportunity for me to speak on behalf of our school board regarding the implications of the COVID-19 virus and also the governor's order to close schools. I'm going to talk about 3 areas this evening. Continuity of learning for our students, school breakfast and lunch opportunities, and end-of-year ceremonies. And I'll be reading. I think I have a lot to share with parents. I think we have parents who have a lot of questions, so I hope I provide information this afternoon that is pertinent and of interest to our parents. And please call me or call a principal regarding any questions that you may have. But as I begin, I'd like to talk about our buildings. Our buildings are open or operating under normal operating hours, but inside our buildings are closed to the public. Our staff will respond to phone and intercom requests, and items will be delivered to the doors of our schools. Parents in the community will be notified of any changes to the normal operating hours. We ask that parents and students call ahead to request items from the schools. When you arrive earlier, either call or use the intercom to notify staff that you are there and the reason why you're there. Someone in the office will respond and answer your questions or bring requested items to the door. At this time, we're asking our visitors, they're not permitted to be inside our school buildings. And when on school grounds, we'd ask that you would practice social distancing. Principals will notify parents of the times when instructional packets, medications, personal belongings, and other items may be picked up, and when school items like textbooks and other instructional materials can be returned to students. Our teachers have worked diligently over the past couple of weeks to develop and will continue to provide instructional packets for students through the end of this school year. These packets are available online and for pickup at the schools. Each principal will notify or will be notifying parents using the divisions and the automated calling system with the times when instructional materials can be picked up. We'll be again practicing social distancing, and each principal has developed the process that works best for his or her school. Students' grades will be averaged based on work completed as of March the 13th, 2020. This was the last day of school before the governor's first order to close schools was issued. The work that the teachers are providing will provide remediation and review of content covered through March the 13th and may include new material with the expectation that this work will be completed. I believe our teachers are striking a balance to ensure that the material is sufficient to challenge but not overwhelming to students during this time. Teachers will provide work for students who were failing as of March 13th to allow them opportunities to pull up a failing grade to a D. Spring Standards of Learning SOL tests will not be administered to any students, and high school students will earn a locally awarded verified credit in any course in which they were enrolled this spring that they passed that had an SOL test associated with this. For the remainder of the school year, our teachers will be contacting their students weekly or every other week to assist them with their work on the take-home or online educational instructional packets. They will call or they may use Google, Zoom, or Class Dojo to stay in contact with the students. Our teachers are also scheduling office hours when students may contact them with questions. Students should check their PCS Gmail accounts for specific information. Students enrolled in dual enrollment classes through Danville Community College are reminded to contact their base school's principal or teachers about these classes or programs, particularly at the Career and Technical Center. I remind parents and students that guest Wi-Fi access is available to each of our 4 county high schools for those without internet access at home and who wish to access the online learning materials. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Mrs. Kara Scott and our school nutrition staff for their quick work in providing school breakfast and lunches for our students. All 4 middle schools have served as meals preparation and pickup sites for our students and parents. Pittsylvania County Schools parents in need of food for their school-aged children may come to one of the 4 county middle schools on Wednesdays from 10 until 1 to pick up several days' worth of breakfast and lunches for their children. Beginning next week, the school nutrition staff have opened satellite sites at Brosville Elementary School, Southside Elementary School, Union Hall Elementary School, Mount Airy Elementary School, and Hurt Elementary School. It is very important that parents wishing to pick up meals at Brosville, Southside, Union Hall, Mount Airy, and Hurt call the school by Monday, April the 6th, to let staff know the number and names of the children needing meals. The schools will use this count of students to order the meals. The pickup on Wednesday, April the 8th at Southside, Union Hall, Mount Airy, and Hurt will run from 11 a.m. until 1:30 p.m. And at Brosville, the pickup will begin at 10:30. As I wrap up my comments today, I would like to thank our parents for working with their children for the next couple of months. I encourage you to make this a fun and enjoyable time for you and your children. I also want to provide information about end-of-year activities. At this time, the governor's order runs through, as we know it right now, June the 10th. And between now and then, our schools had many special activities planned for students. I'd like to let you know that about a few of these, or many of these, the auction at the Career and Technical Center that was scheduled for April the 4th has been postponed. And all activities planned in our school buildings between now and June the 10th have been canceled. This includes band and choral concerts, Virginia High School League sporting events, high school proms, the military ball, and even the graduate merit banquet. Because of the significance of high school graduations, our high school principals are meeting to talk about ways to hold high school graduations after June the 10th. They will notify parents as soon as possible about their plans so parents can adjust their summer's calendars. If the principals are able to schedule this, and that's still a question right now, they're planning it, they will let parents know if they can hold high school graduations this summer. As I end today, I would like to thank our staff. Our staff has worked extremely hard over the last couple of weeks to take the information gleaned or received from the State Department and put it into practice. At this time, I'd like to ask Mr. Chris Slemp, Public Safety Director, to come up.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Just a few comments. I'll be brief. Our Public Safety Department we still continue to function as a coordinator among the many state, regional, and local agencies involved in the response to COVID-19 we do planning, response, logistics, tracking of expenses and finances for FEMA. Our volunteer agencies, fire and rescue, are still very hard at work every day in Pittsylvania County serving the citizens of our county. They have working very diligently to decontaminate equipment and ambulances and so forth after any transport, doing their part to try to stop the spread of the COVID-19. We greatly appreciate their efforts. They're working very hard for you, the citizens of Pittsylvania County, and we couldn't be doing this without them. One of the things we did a little over a week ago also, we've retasked our public safety staff and made them available to respond to calls to assist when need be. And we still continue to very carefully screen our 911 calls when they come into the center in an effort to minimize any exposure to our first responders out here in the field. And lastly, and probably most importantly, I want to thank the citizens of Pittsylvania County who have called us, contacted us, stepped up, brought us, or offered to bring us masks and gowns. That's been wonderful. It's been a huge help to us. Just the other day, I had a young man call me. They had an event close by where they had some leftover food and drink. He said, "Could I bring that to your 911 dispatchers?" And that means a world to those folks when that happens. And I really appreciate those people. We could not be doing this without the public's assistance by any means. That's the only way we're going to win this and defeat this is with the help of the public in all these areas. With that, I appreciate it. I'll turn it back over to Mr. Warren. Thank you.
Thank you all very much. I hope you all learned something from these 5 distinguished men, and I appreciate them taking their time. They're all really busy right now, but they took their time because they wanted you to get the information and to get it firsthand. So we appreciate it. We hope you will continue to practice safe distancing. As Mr. Slemp so eloquently said, we'll get through this together. It's unusual times, but we will get through it together. So we'll open it up for a few questions now. I would ask that anyone asking any questions will keep them within the context of county government and we will defer it to whomever it's applicable to. So does anyone have any questions? I know we have some of the media folks here.
I do have one question.
Yes, sir.
It's about the school, the ability, so Dr. Jones, you said.
Dr. Jones, come up.
Students. So you said that high school students will be given credits, will be awarded credits for classes that they were currently passing?
Yes.
For this semester?
Yes.
Okay, so the high school students that were seniors, if they're awarded enough credits this way, they'll still be able to graduate?
They will, any student who is passing the course as of March 13th will receive a passing grade for the year. That doesn't mean that they are not required to continue with their learning. The packets that we're sending home, that's a requirement as well. But right now, the grade is averaged as of March the 13th. For students who are not passing on March the 13th, we're going to provide opportunities for them to make up that work so they can receive a passing grade.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, do we have any other questions? One thing we do want to point out, and I'm going to ask Mr. Smitherman to come up and do that, is Dr. Jones mentioned that we have some hotspots and some Wi-Fi available for the students. We probably ought to talk about the ones that the county has also set up and made available to the public, if you don't mind.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you reminding me of that. We have had a great response for some Wi-Fi hotspots we've opened up. In the Chatham area, along Main Street, in front of the Moses Building, in front of the courthouse, and in front of county administration, there are open hotspots for guest access where you can access that from your vehicle. In addition, the 4 high schools and 11 of our solid waste convenience centers have been opened up as hotspots. All these hotspots are listed on our Facebook page as well as our website. There is a special notice there that you can find all the hotspots that are available from the county. Additionally, I encourage you to take a look at the Xfinity page. They have opened up all Xfinity hotspots for non-members, so that should open up additional hotspots throughout the county. We are still pursuing other opportunities. If we can find other locations for internet Wi-Fi, we will be pursuing those and opening those and announcing those as they come online.
May I clarify one statement?
Yes, sir, Dr. Jones.
I would like to clarify that question, and I did not include that in my notes, but we have students enrolled in our governor's school and our Academy for Engineering Technology. Those students, because they are taking classes at DCC, through DCC, that are dually enrolled, those students will continue on working on the college courses, and that grade will be determined based upon a collaborative effort between the school division and DCC to determine how those grades will be determined.
Thank you, Dr. Jones. One other thing I want to mention is one of our supervisors, Mr. Tim Dudley, also took the initiative to start some programs to feed the children up in the Hurt area. I know he's coordinated and worked with the school system, I think, in doing some of that. But in order to be sure that we're meeting the needs of those young folks, the sheriff has been involved in some of that too. So I'm going to ask him to come back and tell you what's going on with that, because we need to reach out to all those young people that are in need too.
Last week, just as we were meeting in the office, and it was found that there were some maybe senior citizens that maybe didn't have immediate family in the area, or they had means of travel, but they were, because of their maybe underlying health conditions, were afraid to come out. So in our office, we established a group of people we pulled from the school resource officers, because they're not in school right now, to help with this program. And anyone that is in need of having their medications picked up, or they have essential food needs, if they will call 432-7803, 432-7803, that line is manned, and we'll take the information. I think to date, we have about 20 people that have called in. We've reached out to the ministerial associations, to community action, and to all those groups that have helped in the past. Also, the county has signed on, and we have several volunteers from within our family network here at the county that have volunteered to help with that program. So if you have those needs, please call that number. God's Pit Crew has been a huge help. Tomorrow, they will be issuing nutritional meals that will be available that we can distribute as we go out and about in the county. So again, 432-7803.
Thank you very much, Sheriff. I appreciate that information. If there are no other questions, we will conclude the meeting this afternoon. And please, from the Pittsylvania County Board of Supervisors, we want you to know we're here, we're working, we do care about your needs. So please reach out to your supervisor and let him know if you have any needs and anything we can assist you with. Thank you, and that concludes this afternoon's meeting. Thank you.